With the price of gas right now, a staycation in your backyard sounds pretty good, right? All right, well, here with ideas to guarantee even the kids are going to have fun, we welcome outdoors expert Brian Brody is with us today. Brian, oh boy, I just filled up my gas tank. Yes, staycation sounds great.
That had to hurt. It's like where I live, it's like $4.65 a gallon.
Yeah, we're over $5. It does hurt. So you have some good ideas for us. You have us having fun at home.
There is a silver lining to all the rising prices and the like for fuel, is that you can find adventure, as I say, you can find adventure in your own backyard. And that when you sleep out under the stars, it teaches you to learn how to think on your feet, right? When you sleep on the ground, it helps build grit. And that's what we're excited to say you can do if you don't want to pay those high fuel costs and travel anywhere.
Sleeping on the ground builds grit. This is good.
I think so. Right, because then in an emergency situation, suppose, as we work with our kids all the time, that when you have to think on your feet, if there is, heaven forbid, an emergency, they go, it's like Friday night sleeping out in the backyard. I got this covered, right?
Right.
And then they're up and they're ready for the challenge. So that's why I love doing it.
Okay, so when you're doing it, though, there's certain things the precautions that you should take, right? Like, what about ticks? Do you have ticks in your area? What can you do to protect from ticks?
We do. Here's a picture of one of my sons that has a tick. I use something, and Kara, I brought this. I'm wearing it, so I'm not showing you a piece of clothing, but it's called Insect Shield. It's got permethrin worked right into the clothing because I don't like the smell of DEET, to be honest, and I don't want to put it on my kids and then have them eating s'mores and licking their fingers and everything else. So they put the permethrin right in the clothing. They say it's good for 70 washes, 70 launderings, mosquitoes, ticks, chiggers, flies, ants, no-see-ums, because if you entice them to come outside and they're a pincushion for every flying, creepy crawling creature, they're not going to want to come back out next weekend. So,
no, that's so
I try
true.
to protect them.
Does it protect against like even caterpillars?
Any kind of insect that will crawl. I don't know if they've tested caterpillars. I had this picture to be able to show what you can find in the backyard, right, Kara? Because a part of it, now you're going to laugh when I show you this. You want to see one of my number one pieces of survival gear if you're going to find adventure in your own backyard? You ready for this?
I'm ready for it.
Magnifying glass.
Magnifying glass.
Kids go nuts, right? What was it? Oliver Wendell Holmes wrote that our minds, once stretched, never regain their original dimensions. You put them out with a magnifying glass and a compass. You got to feed them. We'll get to that in a second. But you expose them to things they've never seen before. You got to see their face light up when they found those caterpillars with a magnifying glass.
Oh, I bet. And even like creepy little bugs can seem pretty darn cool with a magnifying glass.
With a magnifying glass, everything looks cool, I think. And this one we found, look at this. This is, I'm not an entomologist, but this is a locust that was actually coming out of its shell. We found this in the backyard. So it really is an adventure when you look at it that way.
You can even find fossils in your backyard.
Oh, do you believe that? I sent in a picture of, this was in a rock, Kara, in the backyard. One of my sons was like, hey, I think I found a fossil. And I'm thinking, a fossil? What are you kidding me? Sure enough, that's what he found, right? And his mind's blown. Now he wants to grow up and be a fossil hunter. So I think
that's really cool. Okay, the sun, as far as being out there in the sun, ways to protect, what advice do you have there?
Well, if you're going to start out early and you're in the sun, you want some clothing. You want to wear a nice hat, right? A wide brim hat, because remember that when you can block the sun's UV rays, it also helps to keep your temperature down. I'm not a huge fan of certain types of sunblock, so I like to find the shade, and then I like to have a hat and some clothing. You can find some clothing with the ultraviolet protection factor worked right into it. Wear long sleeves, and then stay hydrated, my friend, right? That's great advice no matter whether you're camping or you're hanging out in the air conditioning. In temperatures that we have now, it all works to dehydrate us. So you want to stay hydrated, and then the sun won't bug you as, oh, sorry, no pun intended. The sun won't bug you as much if you stay high.
Something you'll for sure see, not too easily, but the deer around here, I just love them. But you do have to stay, and they can get feisty if you get too close. I know from experience.
Like all of it. Well, I'd love to hear about your experience, but you see these people going to Yellowstone with their phone going, oh, let me get a selfie with a bison. And then they're stunned when the bison hits them in the butt, right? Chasing them down the street. So, yeah, let wild animals be wild. It's good to look at them from a distance, and then you don't have to worry about tangling up with them.
Do you have a good pheasant story?
A pheasant story?
Yeah.
Mostly just from hiking. I spent a good bit more time with a camera hiking. These, I happen to find these, believe it or not, these are wild turkeys. Came right up to the backyard. And I live in a suburb of a pretty major city, and these are wild turkeys. You can find pheasants, and then so I just take a camera with me. They kind of frown on it if you're going to hunt turkeys when you have neighbors. So I just take a long lens camera, and I stalk them that way, Kara.
And I want to pull up this last picture we have because I'm curious. Bushes. Oh, these are really pretty. You can definitely find some bugs in those.
You can find some bugs in those. Not only can you find them, but that's the backyard, right?
Yeah,
so
that's your hide and go seek right there.
There's your hide and go seek. And then when you get set and you're ready to go out, you always have to bribe the kids. So I'm bribing them with s'mores. I'm bribing them with food that they like to eat. And then you just go, you throw some basketballs up. Look at this little thing. I brought this for you. Now that's a marshmallow. It's a fishing pole. So you go like this. You stick your marshmallows over the fire. You flip them to make them perfectly the color that you want. Because you know what? Have you ever been in a situation where you go, we're going to make s'mores. And then you can't find any sticks. And the kids are like, what am I? Right. So now you got a Firebugs fishing pole. You got that. They cook hot dogs. They cook every kind of food you got to bribe little kids sometimes.
Brian, we are out of time. You were a lot of fun. I want a staycation with you. Head out to the backyard.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it.
Very fun. All right. Thank you so much. And we're going to have more information about Brian on our website at KATU.com. Don't go away. We'll be right back.